My friends, I want to tell you today about something that is stealing joy from many people. Something that is weighing you down, keeping you from walking in the power that God has given you. And that is holding on to the chains of your past. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe someone you loved walked away. Maybe they betrayed you. And now, instead of moving forward, you're stuck. Stuck in memories, stuck in pain, stuck in anger. But today is the day of deliverance. If you believe in your heart that you were made for more, that your destiny is bigger than what lies behind you, I want you to say, I am taking my power back. Say it again. I am taking my power back. Key points. 1, realize that your power was never in their hands. Oh, my friends, hear me. No man, no woman, no relationship, no breakup has the power to define your worth. The only one who defines you is the one who made you. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone failed to see it. Your power is not in their opinion. It's in God's truth about you. 2, stop worshiping what God removed. Some of you are still crying over something that was never meant to be yours forever. You're mourning a relationship that was only a lesson, not a lifetime covenant. If God allowed it to leave, that means He has something greater ahead. The book of Isaiah says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Will you trust Him for the new thing? 3, break the emotional chains. My friends, some of you are still tied to your ex, not physically, but emotionally. You're stalking their social media, watching their every move, feeding your spirit with the very thing that broke you. How can you heal if you keep drinking the poison? Delete the pictures. Stop checking their page. Release their name from your prayers. Let them go. 4, forgive, but don't forget your worth. I'm not telling you to excuse the hurt. I'm not telling you to pretend like nothing happened. But what I am saying is this. Forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. Jesus said, forgive and you will be forgiven. When you release the bitterness, you open the door for peace, for joy, for new beginnings. 5, stop hoping for closure. You don't need it. Some of you are waiting for an apology that may never come. You're waiting for them to say, I was wrong, I should have stayed, but listen to me. Your healing is not in their words, it's in your decision to move forward. Jesus didn't need an apology from Judas to rise again. And you don't need an apology to rise up from your heartbreak. 6, reclaim your identity. You were not created just to be someone's person. You were not born just to be loved by them. You were created to be loved by God. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. When you know who you are in Christ, you stop settling for less than you deserve. 7, build, don't beg. Some of you are spending too much time trying to prove your worth to someone who has already walked away. Stop begging for love that isn't willing to fight for you. Instead of chasing them, chase your purpose. Instead of looking back, look forward. Build your life, build your dreams, build your faith. 8, surround yourself with people who speak life into you. Do you know why some people stay stuck? Because they surround themselves with people who keep them stuck. They spend time with friends who encourage their misery instead of their healing. Get around people who remind you of your strength. Find a community that lifts you up, not drags you down. 9, trust that better is coming. The enemy wants you to believe that you'll never love again, that you'll never be happy again. But I came to tell you that God has more for you. Better is ahead. Greater is ahead. Your best days are not behind you. They are in front of you. 10, walk away like a child of God. Oh, listen to me. You are not a victim. You are not defeated. You are a child of the Most High God. Walk with your head high. Walk with confidence. Walk in power. Because when you leave the past behind, the future becomes unstoppable. Realize that your power was never in their hands. My friends, let me tell you something that will change your life if you grasp it. Your power was never in their hands. It was never in their approval, never in their validation, never in their love. Some of you have been walking around like your ex took something from you that you can never get back. You say, they stole my happiness, they broke my heart, they ruined my future. But let me ask you, who gave them that kind of power? Who made them the ruler of your destiny? Because I promise you this, no human being has the authority to define your worth. Imagine a $100 bill. If I take it and crumple it up, step on it, throw it in the dirt, does it lose its value? No. If I rip the edges a little, if I pass it around to different people, if someone mishandles it, does the bank say it's worthless? No, because its worth is not determined by what happens to it. Its value was set the moment it was created, and so were you. Some of you have been carrying wounds from a breakup, letting someone else's rejection define you. But let me remind you of something. Their opinion does not set your value. Just because someone failed to see your worth doesn't mean you are worthless. If a blind man cannot see the sun rise, does that mean the sun is not shining? No. It only means that person was not capable of recognizing its brilliance. I know it hurts when someone leaves. I know it feels like they took a part of you with them. But listen to me, if someone walked away, they were never your source of power to begin with. Your joy, your peace, your confidence, those things don't come from people, they come from within you, from the one who created you with a purpose. Let's take a real life example. Imagine you're carrying a beautiful glass vase and someone bumps into you, causing you to drop it. It shatters into pieces. What do? Do you sit down and cry over the broken pieces forever? Do you try to put it back together exactly as it was, knowing it will never be the same? Or do you clean up the mess and find something even better? Too many people are standing over the broken pieces of a relationship, waiting for their ex to come back and fix what they broke. But let me tell you, they are not your healer. They are not your savior. And if they were careless enough to drop you, they are not the ones who should be responsible for putting you back together. The Bible says in Psalm 139:14, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That means you were designed with care. You were crafted with love. You were not an accident. And no relationship, no breakup, no betrayal can take that truth away from you. If you let someone else's actions steal your joy, you are giving them power over you that they do not deserve. If you let their words define your self-worth, you are allowing a temporary person to have permanent control over your life. But today I am telling you, take your power back. Do not sit in regret. Do not drown in self-pity. Do not let their absence make you feel like you are not enough, because you are still standing, you are still breathing, you still have purpose. Your power was never in their hands, it was always in you. And it's time to rise up and walk in it. Stop worshiping what God removed. There are things in your life that were only meant to be temporary, yet you are treating them like they were meant to last forever. Some of you are still holding onto a relationship that God Himself removed from your life. But instead of moving forward, instead of embracing the new, you are standing at the door of the past, knocking, begging, pleading for something that was never meant to stay. Let me tell you something, my friend. When God removes something, it's not a punishment, it's protection. When He closes a door, it's not because He wants to deprive you, it's because He has something greater ahead. But so many of us struggle to trust Him. We cry over the things that left, over the people who walked away, as if our happiness depended on them. Think about it. Have you ever lost something and spent hours searching for it, only to realize later that you never needed it in the first place? Maybe you thought you couldn't live without that job, that friendship, that relationship, but now you look back and realize you're better without it. There's a story in the Bible about the Israelites. When they left Egypt, they were slaves, oppressed, mistreated, forced to labor under cruel conditions. They fought and they were honored. They were forced even to slavery. But when God sent Moses to set them free, they left Egypt and walked toward the promised land. Yet despite being free, they kept looking back. They said, "We had food in Egypt. We had comfort in Egypt." My friends, how often do we do the same thing? How often do we look back at what God already delivered us from and convince ourselves that it was better than it really was? How often do we glorify a past relationship that was never meant to last, all because we're afraid of the Let me make this personal. Imagine you have an old, worn-out pair of shoes. You've had them for years. They're falling apart, full of holes, and every time it rains, your feet get wet. But you're attached to them because they're familiar. So when someone gives you a brand new pair of shoes, comfortable, strong, waterproof, you hesitate. You hold on to the old ones even though they are hurting you. That's what some of us do in relationships. We hold on to something broken because it's familiar. We refuse to let go even when we know it's not right for us, even when we know it's holding us back. But listen to me. God is not in the business of taking away things to leave you empty. If He removes something, it's because it was never meant to be part of your destiny. I know it's hard to let go. I know it's painful when someone you loved walks away. But hear me today. Your future is not tied to what left. The person who abandoned you, the relationship that ended, the plans that fell apart, they are not the author of your story. God is. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Oh, my friends, God is doing a new thing in your life. But if your hands are full of the past, how can you receive the new? If your heart is still occupied with yesterday, how can God bring you into tomorrow? I challenge you today, stop worshiping what God removed. Stop holding on to what He has already taken away. Stop looking back at what was and start looking forward to what's ahead, because what's coming is better than what's gone. Believe it, walk in it, let go, and step into the new. Break the emotional chains. There are people who are free on the outside, but they are prisoners on the inside. They walk around, they smile, they go to work, they live their daily lives, but their hearts are still in chains. Chains that were put there by someone who is no longer even in their life. They say they've moved on, but in reality they are still carrying the weight of their past relationship. And today I want to tell you something powerful. It's time to break those chains. You see, there are different kinds of prisons in life. There are physical prisons where people are locked behind steel bars, but then there are emotional prisons. Prisons built from heartbreak, rejection, and bitterness. And my friends, some of you are trapped in an emotional prison that your ex built, not because you want to be there, but because you have refused to let go. Let me ask you something. How can you move forward when you are still carrying the past? How can you embrace joy when your hands are full of yesterday's pain? Some of you are holding on to old conversations, old memories, old pictures, old messages, as if keeping those things will somehow change what happened. But listen to me. Reliving the past will never heal you. Let's talk about social media for a second. How many of you have spent hours checking their profile, looking at what they're doing, who they're with, where they've been? You tell yourself you're just curious, but deep down you know the truth. You are feeding your pain. Every time you check their page, every time you replay those memories, you are tightening the chains around your own heart. Imagine you had a deep wound on your arm, And every single day, instead of letting it heal, you kept picking at it. You kept reopening the cut, pressing on it, making it worse. What would happen? It would get infected. It would never heal. And this is exactly what many people are doing emotionally. You can't heal from what you keep revisiting. You can't move on when you are still clinging to what broke you. If you want to be free, you have to cut off the things that keep pulling you back. That means deleting the messages, unfollowing their page, stopping the late night scrolling through old photos. It means making a conscious decision to stop feeding the pain. And I know what some of you are thinking, but I just need closure. I need them to explain why they left. I need them to tell me they're sorry. But let me ask you, what if that closure never comes? What if they never apologize? What if they never acknowledge the pain they cause? Are you going to stay in chains forever, waiting for an apology that may never arrive? Real freedom doesn't come from what they say or don't say. It comes from your decision to stop letting them control your emotions. It comes from breaking the chains. And let's be real. Some of you are not just holding on to pain, you're holding on to false hope. You secretly believe they will come back. You think maybe one day they'll realize your worth. But listen to me. If they were meant for you, they wouldn't have left in the first place. Stop wasting your time waiting for someone who already showed you they are not for you. It's time to take back your power. It's time to reclaim your joy. It's time to say, I refuse to be a prisoner to my past. God did not create you to be bound by emotional chains. He created you to be free. And if you're ready for that freedom, you have to take the first step. You have to let go. Because when you finally break the emotional chains, that's when you will truly start living again. And that's when your real future begins. Forgive. But don't forget your worth. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things a person can do, especially when someone has hurt you deeply. When someone has betrayed you, lied to you, or walked away without a second thought, your heart cries out, they don't deserve my forgiveness. And maybe you're right. They don't deserve it. But listen to me. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. So many people walk around carrying the weight of bitterness, thinking that holding on to the anger will somehow make the other person suffer. But the truth is, the only person suffering is you. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It eats you up from the inside. It keeps you trapped in the past while they have already moved on. Maybe you've been hurt in ways no one understands. Maybe your ex made promises they never intended to keep. Maybe they left you when you needed them the most, and now every time you think about them, your heart fills with anger, regret, and pain. But I want you to ask yourself something. How much longer are you going to let them have control over you? Because, my friend, that's exactly what happens when you refuse to forgive. You give them power over your emotions, your thoughts, and your peace. Every time their name crosses your mind and it ruins your mood, they still have power over you. Every time you replay what they did in your head, they still have control. But today, I want you to break free. Forgiveness does not mean what they did was okay. It does not mean you have to allow them back into your life. It does not mean you forget how they treated you. Nope. Forgiveness means you refuse to be their prisoner any longer. It means you release the bitterness and make room for peace. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young woman who was engaged to the love of her life. They planned their future together, shared dreams, and made promises. But one day, without warning, he left her for someone else. She was devastated. She cried for months. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. And every day she held on to one question: why? She wanted closure. She wanted him to feel the same pain she felt. She wanted justice. But nothing changed. She carried this anger inside of her like a heavy chain until one day she realized something powerful. He had moved on, But she was still stuck in the past. She made a decision that day. She chose to forgive, not because he deserved it, but because she deserved peace. And the moment she forgave, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She didn't forget what happened. She learned from it. She didn't lose her worth. She discovered it. And that's what I want for you today. Forgive, but don't forget your worth. Do you know why people keep getting hurt in relationships? Because they forgive, but they forget their worth. They let someone treat them badly, and then they go back to them thinking things will be different. But listen to me. True forgiveness does not mean repeating the same mistake. If someone has lied to you, manipulated you, broken your heart, you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean you have to give them another chance to hurt you. You are worth more than that. Letting go of bitterness doesn't mean you lower your standards. It means you rise above the pain. It means you understand that your value is not determined by how someone treated you, but by who you are. So, my friend, I challenge you today, forgive not for them, but for you. Let go of the anger, let go of the bitterness, but never forget what you deserve. Because the moment you forgive and remember your worth, that's the moment you truly take your power back. Rebuild yourself stronger than before. When a storm comes through a town and knocks down houses, what do the people do? Do they sit there and cry over the broken pieces forever? No, they rebuild. And when they rebuild, they don't make the same mistakes. They make their home stronger, sturdier, more resistant than before. My friend, your heartbreak was a storm. It may have knocked you down, it may have shaken you, but now you have a choice. Will you stay down, or will you rise and rebuild yourself even stronger than before? I know heartbreak can make you feel like you've lost yourself. Maybe you gave so much of your time, your energy, your love to someone, and now that they're gone, you don't even recognize who you are anymore. You look in the mirror and see someone who's exhausted, someone who feels empty, someone who questions their own worth. But hear me today, this is not the end of you. This is your moment to rebuild. Think about a broken bone. When a bone breaks, it is painful. It takes time to heal. But do you know what's amazing? When it finally heals, that part of the bone becomes even stronger than it was before. That's right. The place that was once broken actually grows back tougher, more resilient. And I want to tell you today, you can be like that bone. Yes, you've been broken. Yes, you've been hurt. But you don't have to stay weak. You don't have to remain in pieces. You can rebuild yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. So how do you do that? First, you must learn from the past. Too many people go through heartbreak and never grow from it. They jump into the next relationship without taking time to heal, and they end up repeating the same mistakes. Undo that. Take this time to reflect. What did you learn? What will you never tolerate again? What kind of love do you truly deserve? Use your pain as a lesson, not a prison. Second, you must invest in yourself. You spent so much time giving to that person. Now it's time to give to you. Build yourself up. Grow mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Start working out. Read new books. Learn a new skill. Travel. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. Listen to me. You are not just healing from a heartbreak. You are upgrading yourself. You are becoming the best version of you. Think of it like this. If a caterpillar could talk, it would probably say, "Why is this happening to me? Why am I trapped in this dark cocoon? I feel stuck. I feel alone." But what the caterpillar doesn't realize is that it is not being buried it is being transformed. And after some time, when the cocoon breaks open, what happens? That same caterpillar that once crawled on the ground now has wings. It is flying. It is beautiful. It is free. My friend, you are in that transformation season. You may feel like you are stuck. You may feel like nothing is changing, but I promise you, if you focus on rebuilding yourself, one day you will wake up and realize that you are soaring in ways you never imagined. And finally, never let your past define your future. Just because someone couldn't love you the way you deserved doesn't mean you are unlovable. Just because they didn't see your worth doesn't mean you are not priceless. What's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you, but you have to choose to move forward. You have to choose to rise from the ashes and rebuild yourself stronger than ever. Because one day when you look back, you won't see yourself as a victim. You won't see yourself as broken. You will see yourself as someone who overcame. So stand up, dust yourself off, and start rebuilding today. Shift your focus from pain to purpose. Pain has a way of demanding our attention. When you've been hurt, when someone has broken your heart, when you've been abandoned or betrayed, it feels like that pain is the loudest thing in your life. It follows you everywhere. It's there when you wake up. It's there in the quiet moments. It's there when you're trying to sleep at night. And if you're not careful, pain will become your identity. But listen to me. You were not created to live in pain forever. You were not meant to spend your life focused on what hurt you. You were created for a greater purpose. And the moment you shift your focus from pain to purpose, that's the moment you start taking back your power. Think about a magnifying glass. If you hold it up to a tiny object, that object suddenly looks huge. But the object didn't grow. Your focus made it look bigger. This is exactly what happens with pain. The more you focus on it, the bigger it seems. The more you replay the memories, the more control they have over you. But when you take your focus off the pain and put it on your future, everything begins to change. I want you to think about the most successful people in the world, the strongest leaders, the greatest visionaries, the most inspiring individuals. Do you know what they all have in common? They took their pain and turned it into purpose. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who lost everything. His wife left him, his business failed, his friends walked away. He hit rock bottom. He could have let the pain destroy him. He could have given up. But instead, he made a choice. He chose to use his pain as fuel. He stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And started asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I use my story to help others? And because he shifted his focus, everything in his life changed. He started working on himself. He started using his story to encourage others. He found his passion. He found his purpose. And years later, he looked back at his heartbreak and realized it wasn't the end of his life. It was the beginning of something greater. And I want to tell you today, the same is possible for you. Maybe right now all you see is the pain. Maybe it feels impossible to move forward, but I promise you there is something greater ahead. There is a purpose in your life that is bigger than this heartbreak. Start shifting your focus. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Start asking, how can I use this to grow? What can I do now that I am free? What new doors can I open? Because when you shift your focus, you take your power back. Imagine you're driving a car. If you keep looking in the rearview mirror, what happens? You crash. You miss what's ahead. But the moment you lift your eyes and focus on where you're going, that's when you move forward. That's when you reach new destinations. And I want you to know today, your future is still waiting for you. Your purpose is still calling your name. But you will never reach it if you are too busy looking back at what hurt you. So make a choice today. Take the pain, take the heartbreak, take the disappointment, and turn it into fuel. Let it push you towards something greater. Let it drive you to grow, because your life is not over. Your best days are ahead of you. And when you shift your focus from pain to purpose, you step into the life you were meant to live. Build, don't beg. Too many people waste their lives begging for love that isn't meant for them. They beg for attention. They beg for a second chance. They beg for someone to see their worth. But let me tell you something today. You were never created to beg for love. Love that is real does not have to be chased down. Love that is meant for you will not require you to lose yourself just to keep it. Think about this. Have you ever seen a king or queen begging someone to love them? No, because a person who knows their worth understands that they don't have to convince someone to see their value. But so many people forget this after a breakup. Instead of walking away with their head held high, they lower themselves. They send desperate messages. They cry and plead for one more chance. They check their ex's social media every day, hoping for a sign. They wait by the phone, hoping for a text. They waste weeks, months, sometimes even years, waiting for someone who has already moved on. And do you know what happens when you beg for someone who left? You give them power over you. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who had a dog. Every time he ate dinner, he would throw scraps from his plate onto the floor. The dog would come running, desperate for whatever leftovers the man gave him. One day the man got tired of the dog and kicked him out of the house. But the dog still sat by the door waiting, hoping, begging for the man to let him back in. And this is exactly how some people act after a breakup. Instead of realizing they deserve a full meal, they keep waiting for scraps. Instead of understanding that they are worth more, they sit at the door of someone who doesn't want them, hoping for just a little bit of attention. But let me tell you today, you were never meant to live on scraps. Stop begging for someone to see your worth. Stop waiting by a closed door. You are not a beggar, you are a builder. Think about successful people. Do they sit around crying about who rejected them? No. They build their lives, they build their confidence, they build their future. They don't chase after people, they chase after their purpose. And because they do that, the right people are drawn to them naturally. Let me ask you something. If you had two options, one, to keep begging someone to love you, or two, to work on yourself and build a life so strong that love finds you, which would you choose? I hope you would choose to build, because let me tell you a secret. When you focus on yourself, when you work on becoming the best version of you, when you chase your dreams and heal your heart and walk in your confidence, you will never have to chase anyone again. The right person will recognize your value without you having to convince them. Look at the great people of history. Did they stop and beg someone to love them? No. They were too busy building their destiny. And because they were building, the right people came into their lives. And that's what I want for you. I want you to stop running after people who don't see your worth and start running after your destiny. I want you to rise up and build yourself so strong that you never feel the need to beg for anyone's love again. So today, make a choice. Let go of begging. Let go of desperation. Let go of anyone who makes you feel like you are not enough. And instead, build the life you deserve. Because when you do, the right people will come. Not because you begged for them, but because you became someone who knows their worth. Love yourself the way you wanted them to love you. How many times did you lower your standards just to keep them around? How many times did you accept less than you deserved because you thought that was the best you could get? How many nights did you stay up waiting for a text that never came, making excuses for their behavior, telling yourself, maybe they're just busy, maybe they'll change, maybe it's my fault? But listen to me today. You don't need to beg for love when you learn to give it to yourself. You spend so much time trying to make them love you the way you deserved, trying to prove that you were enough. But now it's time to stop waiting for someone else to love you and start learning to love yourself. The way you wanted them to care for you, do that for yourself. The way you wanted them to speak life into you, speak life into yourself. The way you wanted them to choose you, choose yourself over and over again. Too often we make someone else the center of our world. We pour into them, we invest in them, we make them our priority. And when they leave, we feel empty because we gave them everything and now we have nothing left. But what if you started pouring that same love, that same energy into yourself? Think about it. If you had given yourself half of the love you gave to them, where would you be today? If you had invested in yourself the way you invested in them, how much stronger would you be? The good news is, it's not too late. You can start today. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who loved a woman more than anything. He treated her like a queen, put her first, sacrificed for her, did everything to make her happy, but she didn't love him the same way. She took him for granted, and one day she walked away. He was devastated. He thought he would never recover. But one day he asked himself a question that changed everything. What if I started loving myself the way I loved her? So he did. He started working on himself. He stopped chasing people who didn't value him. He set boundaries. He started treating himself with the respect he had been giving away for free. And as he did, something amazing happened. He became the kind of person he always wanted to be. He became confident. He became successful. And he realized that he never needed her love to be whole. He only needed to love himself. And that's what I want for you. Stop waiting for someone to come back and validate your worth. Stop thinking that your value depends on whether or not they loved you. Start treating yourself the way you always wanted to be treated. You wanted them to prioritize you, make yourself a priority. You wanted them to respect you, set boundaries, and demand respect. You wanted them to cherish you, cherish yourself. Self-love is not just about saying, I love myself. It's about how you treat yourself. It's about refusing to settle. It's about knowing that you are enough, not because someone else said so, but because you say so. So many people jump from one relationship to the next, looking for someone to fill the emptiness inside them. But hear me, you don't need another person to make you whole. You are already whole. You just need to realize it. So today, make a choice. Love yourself the way you always wanted to be loved. Treat yourself with kindness. Give yourself grace. Build the life you deserve. And when the right person comes along, they won't be filling a void. They will be adding to a life that is already full. Because when you truly love yourself, you will never again accept a love that is anything less than what you deserve. Forgive, but never forget the lesson, forgiveness. It's a word that makes some people uncomfortable, especially when they've been deeply hurt. When someone breaks your heart, betrays your trust, or walks away like you never mattered, the last thing you want to hear is you need to forgive. Because why should you? Why should you let go of the pain when they never apologized? Why should you release the anger when they moved on without a second thought? Why should you forgive when they don't even deserve it? Let me tell you why. Because forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. When you hold on to anger, when you carry the weight of resentment, when you replay the betrayal over and over in your mind, do you know who suffers? You do, not them. They're out there living their life. They're not losing sleep over you. But you're the one stuck in the past. You're the one reliving the pain. And let me tell you, you deserve better than that. Think about a person carrying a heavy backpack. At first, it might not seem so bad, But as the minutes turn into hours, as the hours turn into days, that weight starts to break them down. Their back aches, their shoulders hurt, they can barely move forward. This is what happens when you carry unforgiveness. Every time you hold on to the pain, every time you dwell on what they did, every time you let the bitterness consume you, it's like adding another rock to that backpack. And before you know it, the weight of what they did to you is stopping you from moving forward in your own life. But the moment you forgive, that's the moment you drop the weight. Now, don't get me wrong. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean you allow them back into your life to hurt you again. It does not mean you excuse what they did. It simply means you refuse to let what they did control you anymore. Forgiveness is saying, I release the anger, not because they deserve it, but because I deserve peace. There's a story of a woman who was deeply hurt by someone she trusted. She spent years holding on to the pain, letting it define her. Every conversation, every relationship, every decision, she carried that bitterness with her. She thought that by staying angry, she was punishing the person who hurt her. But one day she realized something. Her anger wasn't punishing them. It was punishing her. While she was stuck in the past, they had moved on. While she was bitter, they were free. And that's when she made a decision. She let go. She didn't forget. She didn't excuse, but she forgave. And for the first time in years, she felt peace. And that's what I want for you. You don't have to carry the weight of what they did any longer. You can choose peace. You can choose to move forward. But here's the key. Never forget the lesson. Forgive them, but don't let history repeat itself. Forgive them, but don't allow anyone else to treat you the same way. Forgive them, but use the pain as wisdom. Because life will always teach you lessons, but it's up to you whether you learn from them. So today I challenge you. Release the weight. Let go of the anger. Set yourself free, not for them, for you. Step into the new version of yourself. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of this heartbreak. A stronger you, a wiser you, a version of yourself that doesn't cry over the past, that doesn't settle for less, that doesn't waste time chasing people who don't see your worth. And the only way to meet this version of yourself is to let go of who you used to be. You see, every time something in your life falls apart, you have two choices. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. And I'm here to tell you today, this is not the end of your story. This is not where your life stops. This is not where your joy dies. This is where you rise. This is where you evolve. This is where you transform into the person you were always meant to be. Think about a caterpillar. When it's crawling on the ground, it has no idea what's ahead. It doesn't know that one day it's going to grow wings and fly. But before that happens, it has to go through a dark season. It has to go inside the cocoon. It has to be alone. It has to transform. And when the process is over, it's no longer the same. It's stronger. It's different. It's unrecognizable. That's what's happening to you. Right now, you might feel like your life is falling apart. You might feel like you're losing everything. But what if I told you you're not losing yourself, you're finding yourself? What if I told you that this pain is shaping you into someone more powerful than you've ever been? But here's the thing. You have to be willing to let go of the old you. The version of you that accepted less. The version of you that tolerated disrespect. The version of you that stayed too long in places where you were not valued. That version of you cannot come into your future. Let me ask you something. If you walked into a new season of your life carrying all the pain, all the insecurities, all the self-doubt of your past, would you be ready for what's ahead? No. Because the future version of you, the one that's healed, confident, and thriving, does not need those old burdens. You have to decide today. Are you going to step into your new self, or are you going to stay stuck in who you were? Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who went through the worst breakup of her life. She thought she would never recover. She cried every night. She kept replaying everything that happened, wondering what she could have done differently. But one day, she had a realization. She could not change the past, but she could change her future. So she made a decision. She started working on herself. She healed, she grew, she became everything she once thought she needed from someone else. And do you know what happened? She didn't just get over her ex, she became a new person. A version of herself that her ex wouldn't even recognize. A version of herself that wouldn't even want them back. And that's the goal. You are not just healing from the past, you are preparing for your future. You are stepping into the best version of yourself. A version that doesn't cry over closed doors because they know better doors are ahead. A version that doesn't chase people because they know their worth. So today, I want you to make a choice. Decide that you are walking into your new self. No more looking back. No more doubting your worth. No more wishing things had been different, because the moment you decide to step into the new version of yourself, you take back your power.